Standard & Poor's and other rating agencies. As I mentioned to the council last month, we had a recent review and the outlook was stable for the city. This saves us money when we borrow to do projects within the city. We can get favorable interest rates. And we also have the award for financial reporting for 21 consecutive years. What this involves is a third-party independent review of our annual financial report, and they evaluate our ability to function and maintain practices that are compliant within the generally accepted accounting principles. Finance department weaknesses. Like Deborah mentioned, succession planning in some of the smaller divisions becomes a challenge. It's hard just to get the time and that level of comfort in those smaller areas. If we have any staff turnover, it becomes a challenge to fill that void, and sometimes we end up contracting for additional outside training or software training because we've lost that knowledge when somebody leaves. We also have a weakness in some of our business processes. We still use paper timesheets, paper work orders for our utility billing, work orders to turn on and off your services, paper travel and check requests. We have manual routing process for all of our approvals, like our contracts and stuff. We have outdated financial reporting software. It does the job. It's very powerful software, but it's not user-friendly. It's hard to get data out and arrange it in a useful fashion. It's just a little time-consuming for us to make it presentable and useful. Numerous policies and procedures are outdated. They're just in need of rewriting just to kind of match the current practices. These policies are really needed to assist staff with the daily activities and just provide guidance as they work through our process. Public awareness and support. Even when we've done community forums in the past, it seems really difficult to get that community engagement. I'd like to see more community participation through the budget process. And even working with utility customers, you can tell there's not a real firm understanding of some of the practices or policies. We have increasing demands in the finance department with the limited number of staff that we have. So we have to find more creative ways to evaluate the services that we provide and then provide funding or structure our programs so that we can maintain the service levels that is expected by our customers. Different reporting requirements and changes in legislation increase our inability to maintain some of those service levels.
Lisa, why is the software outdated, and is that working with the city's computer system, or is this another system that you would have to get in order to be compatible? What would you have to do to be able to get some up-to-date software?
It's very pricey and labor intensive. The city's financial software is SunGuard HTE, and it branches out through all of our divisions, our work orders, everything in the city is kind of woven together with this financial system. Like I said, it's very powerful software. It really does the job. It's just that the technology has gotten so old. They've got newer versions that are available that I guess would be more user-friendly. The interface is more interactive and just more intuitive. To get to that point, I mean, we're talking probably $1.5 million in conversion fees, and then just the staff time and demand. I'm afraid that we couldn't keep up with current workload and implement, a whole new structure like that. It would be a huge undertaking, and it would be very costly.
How about there it says numerous policies and procedures are outdated? Why are we not stayed in line? If they outdated, that's not a big cost to change a policy or procedure, is it?
No, it's just time to evaluate and time to get, legal to approve and just time.
Well, some of that stuff we could do for very, very little or no money. course, I know you got a time to do it, but if you got numerous policies and procedures that are outdated, then, you know, we need to look at stuff like that.
And getting back to the cost of that reporting software, could that expense not be shared over a number of enterprise funds, since this is so integrated? I mean, if these people are water, sewer, you know, all of those things could be tapped, could they
The
not?
answer would be yes. I believe general average is probably like a 60-40 split in some of our other functions that are distributed or shared in enterprises.
Listen, how many employees have you had to leave the finance department in the last 5 years?
Greg Dimco.
Yeah, off the top of my head, that would be number one. The tax collector, we've been through 2. That we've had a little bit of turnover out at the garage. We did have one person
Now,
to
you say the
leave.
garage, that was a finance person?
Yeah, the garage is overseen by the finance
Okay,
department.
okay.
The city mechanics are a division of finance.
Okay. Well, I'm primarily on.
That's an outdated chart, sure enough.
When I think of finance.
We got the
I think about
garage and the
people
finance
They're
department.
in your office, you know, that, been, with the ad people, the ad machines, that's fine.
In accounting division, we've only had one person turnover. In the customer service divisions, we've probably had 4 or 5. You know, between all the divisions there, we've got billing, payment center, and customer service.
Those are the people who collect the money and,
Right.
and operate the 10 key machines and that type of thing.
Yeah,
We'll-
accounting only has 5 people in it. We've only had one person.
If it may help, we've got, I've asked Deborah to zero in on some of those statistical numbers in her presentation on employee retention strategies, which is, I think we're teeing up for March 17th.
Sounds to me like when you're talking about retention, you, how many employees you say had with 20 years, how many with 10 years?
Well, that's what I was.
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of tenure within all the divisions.
And the
in
one
finance.
employee you just mentioned retired. She
Mhm.
came here like with 27 years of service. We hired her actually for 3 years, which, and she was a good employee. What I'm going to say, I don't mean to say, but we need to look at that. If you're going to bring an outsider in that's ready to retire, we need to double look at something like that, because see, we only had the tax bill for 3 years. Now we're out looking for another.
Mhm.
So,
It's
There you
hard,
go, thanks.
it's rather challenging to get at that type of an issue during the recruitment process. We're not able to discriminate based on age.
well, I didn't say do that. I'm just saying, you know, hire somebody that ain't fixing to retire next week.
But this was,
She was
but
pretty
this
young.
was, this was
That's
someone,
all age discrimination, and they can't
Yeah.
do that.
this was someone that who had retired previously though, right? They
No, she hadn't. But
She had not retired.
She was kind of young, but I think she had some other family challenges that led her to her
I
decision.
still say it's not discriminating against anybody. You got 100 applications, and you're gonna hire somebody fixing to retire.
Well, all I'm saying is most people don't walk in the interview and say, I'm retiring in 2 years. They're-
No, but you could probably look at their
Well,
application
where
and
are
figure
we
that
at?
out.
We fixing to hire one now, or I guess we're still in the process of hiring a tax collector, or not?
Yeah,
Are we close to
It's in
hiring
process.
anybody?
yes, you can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'll say the rest of that right while.
Well, Lisa,
it
you
is in
know,
process.
I want to say thank you for, you know, and this is technically not, it's not supposed to be your presentation. You know, you've stepped up to the wheel, and, you know, you're driving the department, and I appreciate that. And you have not been the person that have been here or been in charge of the department being necessarily where it is. You've always been a great employee in the city, and you've always functioned very well with whoever happened to be at the helm while you were there, and I appreciate that. So in looking at some of the weaknesses and some of the challenges, I know that you have not had the opportunity to to maybe initiate policies or to change policies because it was not your department. So I just want to thank you for everything you've done.
I sure do appreciate that. It's very special to me. Our opportunities, our weaknesses present opportunities. Technological advancements, we do have some solutions for workflow issues to get away from all those paper products that we're using for check requests, for contracts, and for travel forms. Now, we've actually already purchased the software. It's just labor intensive to implement. So as part of our budget proposal, we're going to try to present an implementation process that involves some of the design to be done by an outside group. Also, we have software to analyze trends. This is to work in conjunction with our outdated financial software and hopefully, you know, put a new face on an old hat and just kind of give us a better way to evaluate the data, and it'll be more interactive. We're hoping that it'll assist in decision making, and we're hoping to be able to use it next year to provide data to council. Again, the automation of the paper processes, we're constantly evaluating ways that we can, you know, correct, you know, even the timesheets, and we have some solutions, but again, you know, it falls down to budget constraints and time and resources to implement. Enhancing skills at the middle management level. You know, even with that one lady retiring, it's provided some opportunities for other people to step in and take over, just as I'm doing for Greg. And it provides a path for career advancement. You know, it gives them the opportunity to, you know, do that cross-training and succession planning. Hopefully they have enough of it stepping in. Most of them do, but the more we can get, it just, you know, gives us that consistency, that continuity. Threats. We're always plagued with the sustainability of our revenue stream as a city, and finance likewise. It makes it difficult to provide the same level of service, you know, with no, you know, revenue to offset all of the inflationary increases. It makes it more difficult to present a balanced budget that meets all the council, community, and staff needs. Staff retention, you know, could be a threat. I don't want to start losing people. We do have some increasing demands for services, which you know, burden staff. Some of the folks get a little bit burned out, and hopefully they take a vacation and come back refreshed. But even then, when you come back from vacation, you're piled in. You know, non-competitive compensation and increasing medical costs make jobs in other cities or private industries more enticing. Like Deborah in the discussion prior to me, we have had some people leave, not particularly from, well, I had one in finance that left, but you know, I'm hoping that that doesn't become, you know, an issue for us. It can be just a threat. We have increasing reporting requirements that drain our resources. Most of them are as a result of those legislative changes that are happening at the state and federal level. As Deborah mentioned, the healthcare reform. We have a new form that's going to be required for finance to send out to all employees that tracks the coverage of you and all of your dependents, so that you can report that back to the IRS. You know, we have to constantly evaluate the IRS regulations just to stay compliant. And then the state reform, you know, the elimination of privilege license and potentially an alternative. You know, we're working through some of the options that we may have as a city there. And then just the ability for the city to fund purchases on installment financing. There's been some talk at the state level of maybe changing our ability to do that or requiring a vote to be able to do that, which would be terrible for us. We just, of course, did that for our fire station and would limit us tremendously. But I'll just continue to face every one of the threats and deal with them and move on. Any questions?
Sounds like you got a good opportunity and some challenges ahead, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Lisa will be followed by Chief Ron.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, Mr. Manager. Certainly thank you for the opportunity to share this information with you. And please stop me anytime to ask any questions you may have. Our strengths, I'll just a minute about those. As with, I guess, all the departments, our people, we've certainly got quality people who do a great job, trained and certified in so many different areas. And we're just very, very fortunate to have the people that we have, the firefighters that we have. I guess the next would be the range of services we provide. As you know, it's much more than just fire. It's rescue, hazmat, emergency medical, code administration. So many services there. And again, it's the people that make those services for our citizens what they are. Our strategic planning, I feel like that's a strength. We do a community-driven strategic plan. We bring the community in and get their input, do the 5-year plan. The core values that our firefighters hold to, things such as safety and integrity and compassion and professionalism, again, that make us what we are. Our council and community support